You want to know if love can survive after the trust is broken, after the affair, after the hidden bank account, after the relapse? The short answer is yes. The long answer is the relationship that you had is dead. You're attending its funeral right now. The only question left is whether you're willing to build a brand new relationship with the person who murdered the last one. Whew. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Sober Psychology Quickfire episode. I'm Michael, your host, a psychologist in training, a husband, a father, and a recovered alcoholic who has looked the people that I love the most in the eyes and lied to their faces. I know what it's like to be the betrayer, the adulterer, the abuser, and I also know the absolute hell that it takes to rebuild the bridge that you burned down. If you're new here, we don't do toxic positivity. We don't tell you to just forgive and forget. We take the brutal data of clinical psychology and we crash it into the uncompromising truth of the Bible, and then we use the wreckage in order to heal. If you want a band-aid, you might as well go hit up a lifestyle vlog. If you want surgery, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Today we're talking about betrayal. Whether it's infidelity, addiction, or financial ruin, broken trust is an earthquake. But it's not the earthquake that kills the marriage, it's the tsunami of lies that follows it. So today we're going to cover the psychology of the shatter, and this is why betrayal is literally a form of PTSD. We're going to talk about the theology of forgiveness, which is why Christians get forgiveness completely wrong and why it doesn't mean that you have to stay. And then we're going to talk about the resurrection blueprint. These are the exact psychological steps that are going to be required in order to rebuild trust from ground zero. If you're the one who was betrayed, this is going to validate your sanity. If you're the betrayer, this one's going to hurt. So let's get to work. Let's start with the victim. If you were lied to, cheated on, or betrayed, society is probably going to tell you just to move on. Your friends will probably say just leave them or just get over it. They don't understand the neuroscience of what just happened to you. Psychologically, romantic betrayal is not a mistake. It's attachment trauma. Dr. Shirley Glass, who is one of the pioneers in studying infidelity, mapped this out brilliantly. When the person who is supposed to be your safe harbor becomes the source of your danger, your brain literally short circuits. You aren't just sad, your amygdala is firing like you're in a war zone. You're experiencing hypervigilance. You check their phone location 40 times a day. You question reality. If they could lie to me about where they were on Tuesday, what else is a lie? Is my entire life a joke? Betrayal destroys your rear view mirror. It doesn't just ruin your future, it retroactively ruins your past. You look back at the happy memories, the vacations, the anniversaries, and you think to yourself, were they lying to me then too? You aren't crazy for snooping. You're a traumatized human being trying to establish a baseline of reality. And if you're the betrayer, you need to hear this. Stop telling them to stop bringing it up. You gave them psychological whiplash. It's going to take months, probably even years, for their nervous system to stop treating you like a predator. Now let's talk to the betrayer, the addict, the cheater, the liar. I can speak on this because I lived it. When I was in active addiction, I lied to my ex-wife about things that I didn't even need to lie about. It became a reflex. So why do we do it? Are we sociopaths? Usually no. We do it because of cowardice. John Gottman, who is the absolute godfather of relationship psychology, talks about the trust metric. Trust is built in very small moments where you choose your partner's well-being over your own comfort. Betrayal is the exact opposite of that. It's prioritizing your immediate gratification, which is a high or an ego stroke or an escape, over your partner's sanity. Here's the dark truth about lying. I didn't lie to my ex-wife because I hated her. I lied to her because I hated myself. I lied because I was a coward who couldn't handle the consequences of my own actions. Cheating, sneaking, hiding, it's not an act of power. It's an act of profound weakness. If you broke the trust, you have to strip away the victim mentality. You're not a victim of your own choices. You pulled the pin on the grenade. You can't complain about the noise of the explosion. Now let's take this to church because Christians have absolutely butchered the concept of forgiveness. If you go to a pastor after your spouse has cheated or drains the bank account to buy pills, a lot of them are probably going to open to Matthew 18 and say, you must forgive 70 times 7. And yes, you must forgive, but we need to define the word. Forgiveness is a pardoning of a debt. It's you deciding, I'm not going to let the poison of this resentment rot my own soul. I release you to God. Forgiveness takes one person. Reconciliation takes two. Forgiveness is free. Trust is incredibly expensive. God commands you to forgive your betrayer. God does not command you to give them the password to your bank account, unsupervised visits with your kids, and the keys to your heart until they've proven through sustained behavior that they're no longer dangerous. Look at Jesus and Peter. Peter betrayed Jesus in his darkest hour. He denied him 3 times. And did Jesus forgive him? Yes, instantly on the cross. But in John 21, Jesus didn't just say, hey man, it's cool, let's go grab some tacos. He made Peter look him in the eye. He asked him 3 times, do you love me? He made Peter confront the betrayal, articulate his repentance, and then accept a new standard of behavior. Grace is freely given. Trust has to be earned through a behavioral resume. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so how do we rebuild? If you both decide to stay, how do you glue the cup back together? Step 1, radical transparency. This is also going to be called the glass house phase. If you broke the trust, you no longer have the right to privacy. Privacy is a privilege of the trustworthy. For the foreseeable future, your phone, your location, your schedule are open books. You don't get to be offended by this. You're building a wheelchair ramp for the person whose legs you broke. Step 2, the betrayer must become the healer. This is the most important psychological shift. Usually what happens in these cases is the victim brings up the affair or the lie, and then the betrayer gets defensive. Flip the script. The betrayer has to bring it up. You have to look at your spouse on a random Tuesday and say, I know you're probably feeling anxious because I came home late from work. I want to reassure you that I was at the office and I am so sorry that I ever gave you a reason to doubt me. When the source of the pain becomes the source of the comfort, trauma bonds begin to break and the real healing begins. And then step 3, grieve the first marriage. You have to accept that relationship 1.0 is dead. Stop trying to get it back to the way it was. How it was ultimately led to betrayal. You're now building relationship 2.0. It's going to be less naive, it'll be less innocent, but if you do the work, it'll be infinitely stronger because it's built on the truth and not some fairy tale. Come here. I want to speak directly to the person sitting in the rubble right now. You probably feel stupid for staying. You probably feel judged by your friends, by society. You probably feel like you're losing your mind. You aren't stupid. You're fighting for something that's sacred. And to the betrayer, the guilt is heavy. I get it. The shame is crushing. I completely understand. You want to run away because looking at the pain that you caused in their eyes is unbearable. Do not run. The greatest act of manhood or womanhood that you will ever perform is to stand in the fire of the pain that you caused and refuse to flinch until the person that you hurt feels safe again. Can love survive? Yes, but it's got to be a love that's tougher than ego. It has to be a love that crucifies pride. Here's your challenge for the week. If you're the betrayer, I want you to initiate a conversation tonight. Do it immediately. Don't defend yourself. Just say, I know that I broke us and I'm here to listen. And if you're the one who was betrayed, your challenge is to let them try. If this video helped you make sense of any of the chaos, drop a comment down below and say Building 2.0. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Hit the like button and subscribe so we can keep doing this work together, and share this with someone who's walking through the fire right now. I'm Michael. This is Sober Psychology. Stay grounded, stay honest. I'll see you next week. Keep your head up, keep your heart open, and go help somebody. I love you guys.